management tools and techniques are not for people who want to get things done, deliver high quality on time when things are all going fine. They are for people who really want to deliver on time, high quality, when things are going completely awry. I want to share with you some anecdotes, some lessons and experiences that we have learned over the past 5-6 months delivering products to our 50 million customers worldwide using our own project management suite. I received this on WhatsApp a couple of weeks ago about a student saying why he hated maths. It went like this. In class, this is what happens. 5 plus 5 is 10. Then there is homework, which is a little harder. But imagine his feeling when this comes in the exam. With 2 sheep flying, one yellow and the other headed right, how much does a pound of asphalt cost, given that the cow is 10 years old? Imagine. But that's exactly what we are all going through. We have been trained in the Agile Manifesto 20 years. We have been there, done that. We have noticed the benefits of focusing on customer satisfaction, having working software all the time, motivating our teams, being self-organized. And suddenly, this comes. So how have we been able to handle our response to this challenge? There is a book by Sheldon Kopp. It's a funny, strange, almost dangerous sounding title. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. I'm not here to tell you about how deep and profound that thought is, but this is what comes to mind when I think Agile and when I see a book about Agile. True Agile practitioners probably wouldn't follow anything that's printed in a book, that's documented. They would rather learn from people, learn from their relationships. That's my thought. So is there a 13th principle? Is there a missing link? Something that went unsaid in the 12 Agile principles? That's probably holding the key to our best response to the pandemic that's facing us. Let's find out. Satisfying the customer. The keywords were satisfy, early, continuous delivery of valuable software. We know how it's done around the world. In fact, companies like Facebook and Dropbox have perfected it. Their what's new doesn't even change. It's all about updated regularly, making things better. We are happy to help. But when Corona hit us at Zoho, we wanted to take it to the next level. We wanted to provide empowerment to the working individual, to the individual at the end of the hierarchy. Most decisions about software gets done at the CIO level and slowly filters down to everybody in the company, and nobody had the time to wait for it. So we put together a hand-picked suite of products, every one of them for collaborating and communicating, sharing among employees, most of them who were working from home. Every one of them you could actually sign up and start using in a matter of minutes. You can trial them for free. So the managerial overhead of approvals was sidestepped, organizational velocity improved, and so many more teams were able to jump on to the remote work bandwagon and get a taste of how productive they could be before they had to take the call at an organization-wide level. It's all about, even if it is late in development, harnessing change and making it an advantage for your user and against your competitors. I distinctly remember when the iPhone was launched by Steve Jobs, and I heard that Andy Rubin, who was developing an Android phone which had a keyboard like that, a physical keyboard in the first Android phone called Sooner. It seems he parked his car. He was going to a meeting And on the highway, he asked the driver to pull over and wanted to listen to the whole webcast. And that's when he realized no point launching this phone. Even when the whole manufacturing was done and the software was ready, we couldn't take this to market. If the iPhone, the keyboardless glass and steel wonder that Steve Jobs has put out, that's going to set a new standard. That's exactly what happened when Corona came in, and so many of our customers, many organizations did a pivot. They changed their business model, they changed the way they worked, they changed who they worked with. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, they say, makes you stranger, they say. So we needed to continue to provide value using our tools and services to companies who had overnight changed the way they worked. So we decided to base all the work we did on these three important precepts. Anything that we launched, it had to be beautifully integratable with everything else in the Zoho ecosystem and with third-party software. Everything could be customized to suit the need of the customer. And finally, it could also be extended using Zoho's own deluge code and creator toolkits. You could extend whatever we had done, and you could add additional modules to suit your specific need, because your game has changed overnight. About frequent delivery, it's not frequent as in every year, like the iOS comes out. It's frequent as in months or even weeks, very short time scales. This was Microsoft's program manager, Aaron Bjork, who famously had a beautiful launch scheme. It seems he didn't set a deadline on when new work will be put out or when they will stop, so that they could integrate and put all the modules together, go for the major build. It seems they had a 40 bugs cap. He just had a 40 bugs cap. If unfixed bugs were 40 or more in number, if the open bugs were 40, all new development was paused. They just had to work on those 40 and they had to launch. That was how he managed his launch cycle during his time at Microsoft. At Zoho, it was not about a period of months or a period of weeks. We launched our software updates daily. We co-opted our customers. Every one of them understood that we were also under duress. We were working from home too. But the trust they had built with us over the many years they have been with us helped us a lot, because we were able to launch software. In fact, some software contained a few pesky bugs. They worked with us. They identified them. They were happy for a change that we were launching software frequently, even though they were buggy. They missed some random feature or the other. But the core product was healthy, was getting better as they saw, and it really benefited them at this crucial phase. So we were able to work with our customers and deliver continuously at very short time scales better products again and again. Number 4 is about collaboration, particularly about how the business people and the developers collaborate nearly daily. I remember Steve Jobs and how when he launched the Macintosh, he said it turned out so well because the people working on it were musicians, artists, poets, historians, who also happened to be excellent computer scientists. I really liked that acknowledgement he gave to the hobbies and the side interests of his teammates. When Corona happened and there was a lockdown and everybody was at home, automatically they were closer to their hobbies, to their pastimes, to their side passions. There is this interesting story about how Galileo discovered there were mountains on the moon. The side story that not many know is the telescope he used didn't have the resolution to actually make out the mountains in the moon. He was an artist. You wouldn't know that. We know him as a scientist, but he was an artist. He was practicing chiaroscuro, which is a way of drawing with shadows and shading. And that's how he discovered. And that's how he discovered that those were ridges. And ridges mean there are mountains in the moon. In fact, I really related to what Adam Grant says in this book called Originals. He compared data between scientists in the past 110 years who were just good and who won the Nobel Prize. And it seems if you had an interest in music, you were twice as likely than a common scientist to win a Nobel Prize. Arts, 7 times. Crafts, 7.5 times. Writing, 12 times more likely that you will end up receiving a Nobel Prize. If you were in the performing arts, if you were a scientist and you also had a side gig, somehow these things multiplied what your capabilities were. And during the work from home saga in the past few months, we were able to actually see that come out. Business people working with designers and developers, but also these people working with their hobbies next to them. They were able to bring out the creativity much better. Support and trust. It's all about motivated individuals. It's not about domain experts. You just give them the support they need and the trust. We never went for the domain expert. If we wanted to build a CRM, we didn't go out in the market looking for a CRM domain expert. Our Zoho Books product wasn't built by a taxation genius that we brought from somewhere. We learnt it on the job. That's something we are really proud about. And during this lockdown period, there were a lot of internal turmoils in people's minds. What do I do? Is it time for me to switch my domain? Should I instead try wearing a sales hat or a marketing hat? Should I try becoming a designer? And that's when this book really came in handy. In this book, Derek Sivers refers to what he says, this is the question you should ask yourself. It's not about, am I happy? Am I happy doing this? Will I be happy doing this? That's not the question. He says, turn it around. Instead, ask yourself, what do I hate not doing? So to every one of our teammates and employees, we post this question. What are you hating not doing? That was the question we asked them over and over again. That was really helpful in bringing out what truly motivated an individual and thus the team. The 6th principle stresses the importance of face-to-face communication, particularly about conveying information in a face-to-face manner. We all remember the book Rework, how Jason Fried talks about hiring from everywhere but having an overlap, particularly in the time zones, and once in a while meeting in person. What happens when COVID hits you? Instead of just resorting to the regular periodic all faces in a box kind of interface, we invented rather a hack where we decided we will have an ambient telepresence. So we all have a video conferencing solution at Zoho itself. So we used that to the hilt. We were able to set up, as you can see in this picture, these are all my colleagues. They are not on a video call. They are doing their work. Some of them are reading, some of them are, probably one of them is playing a game. They're all at work from home and they're available at moment's notice. And that is what really simulated the work environment that we used to enjoy at office. Ambient telepresence. The 7th principle is about working software always being the most important metric. the measure of progress. We remember this picture. This is a very famous picture every agile practitioner will know. It's never the right way to develop a product like that, but you need to develop it like this. Have the wheels always on, have the minimum viable product. If you're building a vehicle, it should be able to move and take people along. At Zoho, during the lockdown, we realized how lucky we were that every one of our products, long before they reach the customer, long before they are even announced to the world, we consume them. We eat our own dog food. From the mailing solution to the presenting solution to the document sharing solution to the project management solution to our customer service suite, we use them to interact with our customers, to deliver products, to manage projects. So when we consume the products that you are going to someday see, it really is the best metric. You cannot bluff your way through any delivery because 8,000, 9,000 employees working from their homes are waiting for the next release before the 45 million unassuming customers get to even see the product. About sustainable pace, that's important. They promote sustainable development. It's not something that you can sprint and be breathless at the end of it and wonder why you even ran. It's always a mix between running the sprint and actually doing the long marathon. It's a combination. At Zoho, even though we were actually sprinting, trying to deliver high quality work even during the lockdown period, it was also important that we acknowledge that a sense of the passage of time was lost. People were always online. There was even a lack of understanding of the calendar. What day of the week was it? So to bring some order, to take a break and to get a hold of the situation, it was important for us to plan post-COVID. What are the long-term goals that we were looking for? Enough scrambling. We also need to plan for things coming back to normal. A new normal perhaps, but we need to start planning for that. This perspective of juggling between a sprint mode and a marathon mode really helped us keep our calm and bring some kind of a work-life balance in our team members. About technical excellence, much has been talked about how technical debt is a slow killer and how good design will enhance agility. You all remember the story of Theseus' ship, where when he starts with a new ship and slowly one by one small planks of wood fall off and they get replaced by something else, over time you end up with a ship that has none of the original planks. Is it still Theseus' ship? Is it still seaworthy? Is the question you need to ask yourself. A time comes when a probable reboot needs to be done. And that's exactly what we still were able to pull off even during the lockdown period. 5 of our products, 5 of these products actually went through a complete rewrite. A refactor. Probably it didn't yield new features. It didn't come out with an amazing new interface perhaps. But under the bonnet, they were all rewritten to be able to integrate better with other products, to be able to scale to our customers' new needs. So technical debt is something we were able to avoid in the case of CRM, in the case of meeting, in the case of recruit, and in creator. Keeping it simple is the 10th principle, and it's all about maximizing the amount of work that you don't do. The immediate motive that comes to mind when I think about keeping it simple is the junk bulk of remotes that I used to have at home and what I replaced it with. The elegance, the simplicity, the only what's needed and nothing of what's not needed was really some example to emulate. What did Zoho do? It had 45 different apps. In fact, ever since this slide was made, we have added few more. There are 51 apps today. But we were able to put these all together into Zoho One, a headache-free product suite, one app, one platform, one login, one account, one manager to work with, one invoicing, a singular uniform platform on top of which you can run your business today, end to end, including any new product that we will launch in the future. Enterprise version of that product was available for you as one single unified suite. The 11th principle is about self-organization, about how they actually emerge. Intelligence at the edges, they say. I remember the story of the octopus and how scientists realized it didn't have one brain, it actually had 9 brains. One central brain, but 8 different brains at the end of each of its tentacles. Why? It was so complicated. The motion, the management required to move the arm and also do some picking up at the end of the arm was so complicated that one brain couldn't do it all. It had localized brains. That's exactly what we have ended up doing at Zoho. Over the past few months, we have realized that one central office location might not cut it anymore. This is our office down south in Tamil Nadu in a small town called Tharuvai. In beautiful work environments like this, open air, close to nature work environments like this, where people can contemplate as well as collaborate with teammates, far removed from the trafficked, polluted environments that one finds in cities. The move has started happening. Already more and more companies are talking about how can we move to a hub and spoke model. Instead of having one central headquarters, can we have hubs connected by spokes to the mothership? Inspecting and adapting is the last principle, the 12th one. It's about how you reflect to be more effective and how you adjust your behavior accordingly. In Alice in Wonderland, the Red Queen says you must run as fast as you can to remain at the same place. Look at the paradox involved there, the fallacy there. You should run as fast as you can to remain at the same place. In fact, Alice asks then, how can I move? And she says, oh well, you have to run twice as fast then. This same lady, later in the book, she says, it's hard to get a little better when you want to be consistently good. So once in a while, it was important for us all to take pause, analyze, inspect, and why are we doing what we are doing? The famous Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. Why are we doing what we are doing? What is our purpose? And Starbucks' philosophy about putting that customer service agent, the person who actually delivers your drink, right in the middle of the organization. He is not somebody who works for a manager, who works for the CEO. The manager works for this person. The manager wants to make this person's life trouble-free, obstacle-free, so that he can do his job amazingly, thus winning the heart of a happy customer. The CEO works for the manager works for this person. The person in touch with the customer. In times of social distancing, being in touch takes on a new dimension. So these were the 12 principles that we saw, and I was wondering, what was that single important principle, the 13th principle, so to speak, that wasn't really spelt out in the manifesto? There were tools, there was talk about people, there was talk about processes and adaptability I think the one bit that we seem to have left out is that of the agile mindset. Whatever tools you bring in, whatever new processes, stand up meetings, scrums, and velocities that you bring in, if you don't have the mindset, the ability to actually think in an agile manner, I don't think anything else will be useful. But once you get the agile mindset, all of these, you don't need a book or you don't need a coach to recommend these for you. These will come naturally as you keep your eyes and ears open and adapt to the changing conditions with great agility. All the best.